Hello, and welcome to the Daily View. Well, today we look at Saturn. Saturn's one of my favorites. As a matter of fact, my own personal experience with Saturn convinces me that Saturn is, a female, a yin, if you will, in yang clothing. I think this goes back to very, very ancient yin forces that were transformed by Greco-Roman mythology with the advent of the rise of the male as the dominant force, the patriarchy. But Saturn is an extraordinary force in our lives, and in terms of human design analysis, Saturn's particularly important in the chart because it tends to be a focus place. Saturn really represents it's like being a judge in a way. Whatever you do in your life that is incorrect according to your nature, it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever you do that's incorrect, if there is a price to be paid, the place where you pay the price is not where you lived out that process or what initiated that process. The place where you pay the price is wherever your Saturns are. In other words, the position of your Saturn in your design really tells you something. This is the place of not only vulnerability, in the sense that it is through the Saturn position that you're going to have to deal with the consequences of your actions. But it's more than that. That is, it is one of the most profound signposts that we have. And of course, signpost is one of those favorites of mine. These kinds of forces or activations that allow you over time to be able to see your own progress in your own process. You know, it's one of the things about Saturn is that if you mess up even a little bit, then you're going to pay the Saturnian price. But if you're just great, if you do everything just great, it's not like Saturn shows up and pats you on the back and says, "Hey, you've been terrific. You just don't pay a price." It is a reward that is really profound. You just don't pay the price. So looking at the Saturns in your design is very significant. You know, the fact is that most of the things that get us into difficulty in this life, that is our open centers, these gates of ours that are pointed towards open centers where we're so susceptible to conditioning in this life, that we end up getting caught in something because of that kind of conditioning force or make decisions on the mental plane. And yet regardless of where it came from, we end up paying the price in the same place, wherever those Saturns are. And the difficulty is not so much in the personality Saturn, because again, with the personality, we have conscious access to it, so that we can be very much aware of how powerful that Saturnian position is. It seems much more powerful than any other because it is a place where there is a focus for this kind of, punishment's a hard word, a price to be paid, where that price is to be paid. But at the unconscious level, it's difficult. It's difficult, until you understand. And then when you understand, you realize you can't do anything about it. Oh, I love the irony of that. It's the beauty of what this knowledge is about. It takes us back always to the mechanics. It always brings us back to the mechanics. If you want to live comfortably with Saturn in your design, then live as yourself. That is the only solution. If you don't live as yourself, as if you are caught in the conditioning, if you live as not self, then the position of those Saturns in your design, they are going to be thorns in your side. And they're going to be thorns that are uncomfortable and difficult to deal with and make life something not a pleasure. It's so easy just to be yourself. It's certainly much easier than to pay the cost of having to deal with Saturn. I know. I have been there, and it is one of my great joys to be at peace with Saturn. When you're finally at peace with Saturn, which basically means that, well, you don't really know that Saturn's even there anymore. Then you can really be certain of one thing. Regardless of the circumstances of your life, regardless of the relative this and that in your life, you are living a life that is correct, a life that is truly here to be respected for its unique contribution.